Hello and welcome to the Neurodivergent show with me, Imo Folami. Happy New Year. Happy 2023. Welcome. In case it's your first day here and you're wondering, the Neurodivergent show, what is it about? The Neurodivergent show is where we talk about those that are different. We celebrate those that are different. And who are those that are different? There are people that are like my brother, who I grew up with. He was restless all his life. I mean, this guy was the smartest of all, but this guy couldn't just sit still. And for the longest time, we thought something was wrong with him. But then we got to find out, like, he's just different from everybody. Neurodivergent is my husband, who I've talked about many times on the show, who is extra at making sure that, everything's organized and everything's clean and, OCD things. Neurodivergent is that boss of yours at work who seems to just be so blunt. I mean, she says whatever she wants to say, whenever she wants to say it. It's like she has no feelings at all. Neurodivergent is that friend of yours. Neurodivergent is that husband, maybe. Neurodivergent is probably you watching me. You just feel like you've never fit in all your life. People have called you things like strange, weird. Like, people tell you, what is wrong with you? It's like you're not like everybody else. You're different. And no, this is not a personality difference. This is just being different, just not being able to fit in the neurotypical world. So yes, that is what this show is. That is what we do on this show. We celebrate those that are different. We recognize them. We understand them. We want to hear from them so that we can be better as a society. I am not alone here today. I have someone very special. She's somewhere in the green room. She's going to be up pretty soon. She's going to come walk us through a life, journey, ADHD journey. Now, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. I don't like calling it a disorder. I like calling it a condition. I do not believe it's a disorder. It's ADHD is that person who's extra. Have you seen a kid in the park that's like is on something? The kid is running at a skelter, and you're like, watch that kid. What is wrong with that kid? Is that kid on something? That's possibly likely ADHD. ADHD is that person that cannot complete a task. They're so smart. They have all these great ideas. They start it, but they never finish it. That's ADHD. And who best than someone who's got ADHD herself to come tell us more about ADHD. I have the pleasure of introducing my friend, my boss, kind of, Kinsey. Let's watch this quickly, and then Kinsey is going to come join us and talk to us more about a journey.
And with that, the 2022 season comes to an end. Good night.
When she was just a girl, she expected the world. Away from her reach, so she ran away in her sleep. Dream of paradise, paradise.
Okay, there's something you will find out about me is that I cannot dance to save my life. Hi, girl.
Hello. I think
welcome to the Neurodivergent show. I'm so happy that you're part of us. And before we continue the show, did someone see something? Did someone see something on a finger? Did you see something? And I have this to celebrate. Congratulations are in order. She's getting married. She's going to be the latest bride come sometimes 2023. Congratulations, my dear. Congratulations. Okay,
Thank
I'm
you.
sure our listeners cannot wait to meet you. But first, if this is your first time on the Neurodivergent show, or if you haven't subscribed, please go ahead and do that now, okay? Go ahead and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Start putting in the comments. This is an interactive session, so we want you to start hailing our own Kinsey. Start just, leave a comment below, and let's just start the interactive session. Go ahead, my dear friend. Please, can we meet you?
Yes. Hi. Thank you so much for having me. I'm Kenzie. Hello.
Okay.
Hello.
Kinsey, who are you?
Hello.
Tell us more about you. What do you do? Who are you? Just let us in on more.
So I am a registered nurse, and graciously, I have been a nurse for about 2.5 years, going on 3. And nursing school was definitely challenging, and that was the main part that I noticed, that there was something different about me and going through school and learning. But yes, I've been a nurse, and I graciously got to have a promotion, so that was really exciting. That was this past year in February. I became a clinical team leader. And woohoo! And so it's been an honor to lead the floor at Mansfield Methodist and take great care of our patients, and just really bond with all the nurses and get to know each other super close. So thank you. I'm so blessed to have met you.
Yeah, thank you for being here. For one, just she's going to get into the nitty gritty. Okay, we're going to talk about what the struggles have been, and we're going to get back to the beginning, our life, and she's going to walk us through all of that. But you've come so far in such a short period. At one point, you were a tech on the floor, that's a PCT, and then you rose up to become an RN, registered nurse, and then now you're a clinical team leader. How does that make you feel? I mean, such accomplishment.
Thank you so much. Yes, so I became right when I started college in 2014, 2013, I graduated high school. I started to go to school at UTA to become a nurse, and then I realized, well, I need to get my foot in the door and become a tech. And so I got my CNA while I was going to classes for college for the nursing degree in the morning, in the afternoon, and then at night I went to go get my PCT license.
Wow.
And so I was a tech for about 7 to about 8 years before I became an intern, extern, resident. So yeah, it's been great. And that whole time of me being a tech is when I was in nursing school. So it's definitely a lot longer than most people go to nursing school for, and that's what I'm here to talk about. And it's been amazing to see the journey, and I absolutely started from the bottom, and now I'm here. But it's definitely been a journey. There's a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but it's really cool just to see. And I also like communicating that with the techs I see on the floor, that when they're struggling, I like go to them like, look, like, this is where I am now. You can do this. You got this. And so it's been an honor, really. And with God's grace, it's been
such an inspiration.
Thank you.
to others that are looking up to you and hoping to achieve some of the things you've achieved. If you're here, I want you to say, if you're online with us, I want you to go ahead and say hi. Okay, say hi in the comment section. Drop a comment and say hi to Kinsey. Say hi, say hello, say something beautiful about, or say something nice. Just something. Just let's cheer our own Kinsey on. Okay, so ADHD.
Yes. So ADHD to me, so I'll start with the textbook because I am a nurse. So I do go back to the whole educational system. And so ADHD, and this is by the Cleveland Clinic and the CDC. So textbook is attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. But like you said, I also don't like calling it a disorder because that just puts a negative tone on things. Because, of course, I like to think people that have these conditions have a lot of strengths that overweigh their their negativity or what people think of negativity. But what it is, it's trouble paying attention, trouble controlling impulsive behaviors that they may act without thinking. But biologically, ADHD is associated with the way certain neurotransmitters and chemicals in the brain, especially norepinephrine and dopamine, act. And it's faulted in two different spots of the brain. And the two different spots are the default network, which is associated with the automatic attention. So that's where the attention part comes from, and the task positive network. And that will lead me to a whole nother discussion on tasks. But it's associated directly with the effortful attention of, paying attention in life and the tasks.
All right.
But yeah, so that's the textbook. But to me, it's everyday life of how we take on a challenge or just take on a day, because for us sometimes a day is so exhausting because we're thinking everything.
Neurodivergent show. Okay. All right. So have you ever heard someone tell you, I don't believe it, I think you are just making excuses?
Oh, for sure.
I don't think ADHD is real. I don't think any of those things you all talk about is real. And when you hear people say that, how does that make you feel?
So that when people say that, it kind of makes me feel absolutely crazy. It makes me feel bonkers because I'm like, no, this is a real thing. Like I have this thing in my brain that's not working correctly compared to the neurotypical brain, and it just makes me feel like they're not listening to me, and they're thinking that it's like just me acting the way I act or my personality, but it's not.
So you said something about the brain, and this is what people need to understand about ADHD. You see, if you're a typical person, let's just say this is your brain. Let's draw a circle and say this is your brain, right? That is the brain of a typical person. You see, the ADHD's brain. Can you describe what the ADHD's brain is like, Kinsey? What's the ADHD? It's like this. So
it's like a ping pong ball.
It's like a ping pong, right? Ping pong ball. It's like a racing car, nonstop, no brake, no engine. And in case you're out there and you're still thinking ADHD is not real, ADHD is real. How do I know ADHD is real? Because I lived with ADHD. My brother, for 28 years of his life, didn't know what was going on with him. All we just knew was this guy was weird. It was just different. Like, it was every day. Mom is like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, why are you just so different? I mean, it was so restless. It was forgetful. He was extra smart though, because then he has all these grades. He comes home with A's. He doesn't even study, and he's so creative. He has all these brilliant ideas. But this guy just wouldn't sit still for the life of him. He just couldn't complete a task. It just couldn't just be like his siblings. And so this is not we're too quick to diagnose thing. This is people's lives. This is real. ADHD is real. Kinsey has ADHD. The way our brain works is different from the way your brain works. And just because you're not seeing it, or just because it doesn't happen to you, or you haven't met someone it has happened to, does not mean it's not real. Kinsey, am I right or am I right?
You're so right.
Okay, so we want to go back to the basics and help people understand. Okay, we have a few texts here. Let's take them. Thank you. I have Salam here. Hi, Salam. Says you go, Kinsey. Can't wait to hear. Thank you. Tolu says, hi, Kinsey. Hi. So many fans here. Latalia says, hey, ladies, turning in to hear your story. Thank you, Latalia. Lily says, hey, excited to hear. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. So we want to get back to, we want to go back to the beginning, right? So now When did you find out like you're different? At what point? What kind of things did you see? Did you hear others say to you that made you know that you're different?
So I believe that it was probably in fifth grade. And here in Texas, we take the tax test, and that is an end of school test that says, hey, if you take this and pass, you can go to the next grade, and if you don't, we're going to fail you and you have to stay back. And to me, that really in the educational system kind of irks me, because people that are neurodivergent, we have a lot of anxiety, and we have low self-esteem when it comes to high anticipated challenges. And I did not, of course, do well on that test. I do have major test anxiety. Um, and I compare myself to others when I'm in the room, when there's other people taking tests around me. I'm like, oh, that, Bobby's getting up and he's already done within, an hour, and it takes me 2.5 to 3 hours to do this test. So that, and I have like these memories of going to summer school. And I hated to be that that person that went to summer school. And because I do love school, I love learning, there was just certain areas in the learning that my brain wasn't able to grasp as much as someone else's brain would.
So walk me through this, okay? You're in fifth grade or maybe middle school, something. When you see an exam, like an exam is placed in front of you or an exam sheet is placed in front of you, what are you like at that time? What's your brain saying? Like, what's going on in your mind? Are you like what's your status at that time?
So when the piece of paper is placed on the desk, it's automatic freak out. And then after I, start to open the exam or something, my brain just automatically goes to a different like dimension or something. Like I'm supposed to be focusing on this test, and that's all I'm supposed to worry about is this test. But no, I could be worried about what I'm going to wear tomorrow or what's for dinner 3 weeks from now, So my brain does not get the importance of, hey, here's a task in front of you. You need to focus on this because you have to pass. And then I also had some other issues, like a learning disability issue and then dyslexia. And so that was really hard, all meshed into one, along with the test anxiety. And so it was really hard to focus on this test. That was a make or break test.
I hope we're all seeing the difference between a neurotypical brain and a neurodivergent or someone who's got ADHD. I hope we can tell the difference. For instance, as a person, if you give me exam or if I have the sheet in front of me, I'm focused on the exam, just because of the way my brain's wired. I want to just do the exam. And, even if I wonder a little bit, I can always bring myself back and say, hey, focus on the exam. Hey, let's do this. We have to do this because, I have to leave here and stuff. But that's me. You see, what Kinsey just told us is it's not the same for her. And unlike me and you that may be able to control our brain and say, hey, focus, let's get this thing done. She's not able to. She's not able to control her brain at that time. She had so many thoughts. Kinsey, am I correct?
You're so correct. Yes.
So many thoughts. It's like shower spray. It's just coming in, and she's thinking about. And I hear many people who's got ADHD. My brother also was on the show the other day, and he also mentioned the same thing. Like when, like your brain's just everywhere. You're just everywhere. And you're trying so hard. You're trying so hard to focus. You're trying so hard to read the lines and understand the exam, but you're not able to because your brain's not wired that way.
Exactly.
Cool Deep says, hi, Kinsey. If you're here, said hi to Kinsey, please go ahead and do that. Just leave a comment below and say hi. Just say something nice. And if you have questions, you want to know, you have a sibling or someone who has ADHD or something you found out yourself, you want to contribute, you want to ask questions, go ahead and do so in the comment section. Thank you guys so much. All right, Kinsey. So now you're different, right? It's glaring. Everybody can see it. You can see it. So now, what now? Are we getting, what was it like for you? Is it now time to get a diagnosis? Is it time to, what was, as soon as you knew, what was the next step? What happened next?
Yes, so that was back, I mean, that was when I was in 5th grade, and I'm going on 28 now. And sadly, back in the day, I don't think as many people talked about ADHD as they do now.
Mm,
And that's with any mental illness. I believe now we're becoming more open about the subject
right.
and realistic. And so I did not have a diagnosis. And I think that's a lot of us, millennials right now, we never had that diagnosis. And our parents love them to death, but they weren't educated, I guess, enough on that subject back then.
Right.
Now more studies are coming out, more children are beginning to have it. And there's people who, I know people that haven't gotten diagnosed in their until they're 30, and by then they had to struggle those 20 something years of school. And I can't imagine, what life would be like if I was treated correctly and diagnosed early.
Undiagnosed early. Okay, so no diagnosis, you have to sail through. You have to pop
Yes, and
through.
that was really hard because my whole young life of going through school, I was constantly asking, what's wrong with me? Why am I like this? Why? And I can't see into other people's brains, but I can see their actions and see that they can complete this test. And, my friend was done with her project in 2 hours, but why did it take me 3-4 days? And why did I have to start early? Because I knew that I wasn't going to get it done if I don't start like a week early.
Hmm. Okay, so no diagnosis. We have to power through because
Yeah.
society. Well,
Yeah.
thankfully, we're happy that it's getting better now. So, you're in school. Let's start
Mhm.
with high school, right? The struggles continued through high school. What was high school like for you? Your relationship
So
with your friends?
high school, yeah. So I think high school I was very, very, and I think this is a part of the ADHD mindset,
Mm,
is we had to be involved in anything and everything. And I went to a smaller school district. I went to Alvarado, so it was smaller, but I was in volleyball, basketball, track, color guard, dance. So my days looked like I woke up at like 4:30 in the morning. I went to practice at like 5:30. After practice, we took a shower. We went to our first period, and then I had like after school practice as well, and then in between them we had the electives, and then I would practice until school got out at 3:30 to, I don't know, maybe 6. And then I was constantly doing something, and then I went home, and then I hurried up and did homework or whatever I needed to do, and then went to bed, and then did it all over again.
all over.
And now it's so funny to me because I'm older, and I'm like, how did I have that energy to do that? I don't understand. How on earth is someone going to keep track of all those sports and activities and electives? And I was in all these groups and clubs, and I was like, how is that humanly possible? And then I realized, oh, I was ADHD, and I had like a magic like some sort of like energy drink just constantly going in my head, keeping me awake and having the gutso to do all that.
You know what you remind me of? Of my brother. So my brother is into everything. Like he's a jack of all trade. My brother is playing the keyboard today and he's playing the guitar. He's playing now he wants to do something and he's telling us the ideas and we're like, can you just do one or two or maybe even three? We'll take three. And he's like, yeah, I want to do three, but what about these other ones? And
Yeah.
that's ADHD. You guys are
Mhm.
everywhere, doing everything. You're involved in everything. And that's what makes you unique. If channeled properly, if given the right resource, given the right if in the right environment with the right support, that can lead to wonderful things and beautiful things. But if not, it can just be many things that my brother heard about, just being disorganized and not jack of all trade, not
Mhm.
wanting to finish a task and all, because it can be a strength. But if we don't if we don't understand it, if we don't help you all with it, then it might as well just, become something bad. And that's
Mhm.
it doesn't have to be like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So in high school, did you have friends?
Oh, yes. I had a lot of friends, but that was also because I was an only child, so I didn't have that interactivity at home. But I was also friends with people because of all the sports and activities I was in. But I could see very fast that if I wasn't in those activities, I probably wouldn't have a lot of those friends that I did.
Okay, that's good. Did your ADHD, did it affect your relationship with your friends?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I feel like even today, some of my friends and family may know, but whenever I get a text message on my phone, my brain, like, I feel like neurotypical people, they hear that ding or that vibrate and they're like, okay, let me pick that up and see what the text message is about. And my brain doesn't do that, and I have to keep reminding people, hey, I am not ignoring you. I'm not ghosting you. I promise. I may have probably seen that text message, but my brain didn't have the energy at that time to look at that, or deal with that. And if you go through my phone, I have like, I don't know, I think right now I'm at 690 something unread text messages.
Okay.
And then my phone calls are the same way. And then I go through these like spurts of, okay, let me sit down and pay attention to all these things and go through my phone. And then I'll get, distracted about something else.
Oh,
But so I feel like they think that I'm, ignoring them, or I don't have the space for them in my life.
all right.
And
Your
not.
family member or friends, if you know Kinsey and she hasn't replied to your message, you'll have your answer now. Okay, she's not ignoring it. It's just like a brain is just not there yet, and that's not an excuse. That's the truth. Okay,
Mhm,
so we're done with high school. Now the next is college, right? What was
mhm.
that like for you? Walk us through it. You went to nursing school and you had your struggles there. What was that like for you?
So college was probably the hardest time for me academically, because I knew something was wrong with me and I was hopping into this education system that I had to pay for, and I'm paying for now, and I can't screw this up. I can't mess this up. And this is for my future. And so I started out at UTA, and of course, y'all know that's in Arlington, and it's a bigger university. And my mom and I guess we wanted that, that college experience, having fun. Um, and I really didn't have fun because it was really hard. So, one of my first classes that I realized I had an issue in was math. I had my first exam, and they're like, this is not for you. We need to put you in remedial math. I was not paying attention. And it's, of course, college is harder because it's your own will. You have to sit down and give yourself that discipline to do this. And if you don't do it, who cares? You'll just fail the class and you'll have to repay that $1,000 for the course. So I started at UTA, and then I realized my grades were down. I wasn't paying attention. I had to be in that remedial course, which was really embarrassing. They had to pull me out of class. And I was like, okay, this is not working. These classes are so big too. They're huge. I feel like it's not a coliseum, but it's a huge room with, I don't know, 100 people, and you can barely hear the professor, and the professor doesn't know your name. And so I figured, I was like, you know what, this isn't working for me. So I got my PCT license at Arlington near the college, and then I transferred to TCC. And it was a smaller, more intimate education.
Okay. So now we're at TCC. How is that? Just having to go from a much larger class to a small.
Mhm.
What was the transitioning like for you? Would you feel like um, that should be considered for people with ADHD? Just understanding their needs per time and understanding that they may not be able to cope in a bigger class. If you're a parent out there, do you think that's one thing to take note of if you're like to encourage a parent out there?
Yeah, definitely. And I don't have kids, but I for sure was that kid at once. And I have all of our friends and family have kids, or like me and my fiance are the only friend group that doesn't have kids. But yeah, that's what I would definitely tell them, is that I felt more listened to. I felt more aware of what was going on. And I felt like, hey, that professor actually knows my name.
Mm,
Um, they're paying attention to how my grades are, and they're asking me, do you understand everything? Do you get this? So instead of 100 people in the class, there is, I don't know, maybe like 13, 14, 15. And then, of course, you do have your classes that are bigger, but they're nothing like 100 people.
mm,
And they also had more resources for me at the community college.
what kind of resources would you walk us through that?
Yes. So I had a professor came up to me and like looked at my transcript and was like, or like admissions person, and they were like, "You've repeated this class a lot, and it's been like a year or two. What's going on?" And I just sat down and I was like, "Well, I just don't retain information. I feel like as quickly and as more permanent as my colleagues do." And they were like, "Okay, well, that's an issue. So let's test you and see what's going on." And then they tested me for the learning disability and the dyslexia, and I for sure passed with flying colors on that test. And even doing that test was hard, because she had to, like, the test person had to come back and put me back. Okay, you need to focus on this. Don't worry about this over here. So that itself was hard. But they actually had, it was in the disability center. And at first that was hard for me to accept, because I felt different. I'm walking into the college, and instead of going to class, I'm going to the disability center, and it's all in big, huge letters. It says disability. And that just reminded me every time. And that's why I don't like using that, because learning disabilities are like physical disabilities, because you can't function. Yeah, you can walk and move and stuff, but you can't retain information, and you can't move on to your next step in life if you're in the education system. And you can't have a future if you can't grasp the stuff that they're trying to teach you.
Mm, very interesting. I have a okay. I think this is I'm sorry, CS19XX. Giving us clapping for you, Kinsey, and smiling at you. You know, and
Yeah.
he says something, and he's saying you're amazing, baby. So I'm thinking, is this maybe? Yeah.
Yes, that's my fiance. So
Okay.
sweet.
Hi. Okay. So you have this person is challenging you here. She says, "Now I understand. I understood why you ignored my message one day. Thought you did it on purpose. Lol. It was about shift change." So Salam, I think now
Uh-huh.
it's already been explained.
See, I
Uh,
told you.
see, Kinsey did not. She didn't do it on purpose. She couldn't get to it at that time, and maybe sometimes I cannot say when she'll get to it, but at some point she will. And hope for giving her now, and you understand why she wasn't able to then. And we've talked about. I think it's all we've settled it now, right, Salam? Good. Thank you for that. Please, if you have a personal experience with ADHD, your child, your friend, your colleague at work, anything, I want you to please tell us more about it. I want you to go ahead and, drop your own contribution here so that we can learn and grow together, and you can just, talk about it, because you're not alone. Kinsey is here, and, we have so many people. They've got family members or they themselves have ADHD. So let's talk about it. So leave a comment, and then let's just keep the conversation going. In a little bit, I'm going to open the line so that we can call in if you want to, and ask questions and contribute to the show. Okay, so we've talked about college. I still want to own in on college a little bit. So you are learning, even if, of course, you have that accommodation, which we're going to talk about. I think from what I know, it's the accommodation will have to be like they give you extra time for exams. You can
Yeah.
take exams elsewhere. But do you
Mhm.
feel like their learning process, do you feel like do you feel like the neurotypical and the neurodivergent, especially those who have ADHD, when we put everybody together in a class and teach them the same way and have them learn the same way and have them write the same exam, of course, we have accommodations for the exam. Do you
Mhm.
think that's been fair? Do you think that you learn in a fair way?
I don't think so, and I think that's one of the most struggling things for me is that, and that's just probably my personality, but I always compare. And there was a study that came out a few years ago that said there's like 87% of people that are ADHD do have low self-esteem. And I feel like that's because we are always looking at the neurotypical saying, how did they get through college that fast? They didn't have to pay, $20,000 more in loans because they didn't have to retake all this, like the classes and everything. And just like even walking into the disability center, it just makes me feel like, why do I have to go the rough route? Why did it take me 7 years to become a nurse? 7, 8 years when normal nursing school is 4.
Hmm. What do you think can be different? I mean, I kind of feel like we need to take a look at this, especially the educational system, and we need to check. We need to look at it and see how we can make it fair for everyone. Because you mentioned something about having dyslexia and you not being able to comprehend and stuff, but you were still expected to read the same textbook that you were not able to comprehend. So the neurotypical person reads and studies for 3 hours. The person is good to write an exam. But
Mhm.
you're neurodivergent, you're studying for 8 hours and you still have to take the same exam under the same, I mean, different circumstances with time.
Mhm.
But can we consider also that people learn differently? Can we
Yeah.
not? Can we know that there's some people that will not learn with textbooks? Can we have videos, practicals for them?
Mhm.
Maybe I know it's going to be extra, and it's going to if we start making room for everyone, then it's just going to be a big thing. But it's still not being fair to those that are on the receiving end because
Mhm.
everyone is reading for 3 hours and passing the exam, but you're reading for 10 hours and not even passing the exam. What is wrong with this picture? It's still not fair. I mean,
Mhm.
we have to, I'm not saying that we have to change everything overnight. I'm just saying we have to start making accommodations here and there because some people are just not good with writing exams. It's not because I had a friend in nursing school and this guy knew everything. Like he would teach me, he knew everything, everything, right? But he just wasn't a good test taker. So being placed under that situation, it's not fair. He flunked out of nursing school not just because he didn't know the stuff, he didn't know, but because he was put under a system that wasn't fair to him. We have
Yeah.
to do something about it. We cannot just keep saying that we just let it go, we just let it fly. It's not because people, I don't know. Kinsey, what do you have to say?
So I totally agree with you, and I feel like because we do want kids, and I feel like in the beginning, if there was some sort of like in kindergarten or first or second grade, if there was like that test that I took, to see where they land at grasping this information and also what type of information. Someone may be awesome at reading, but not so good at math and don't understand the number part. I feel like if early on in childhood we do an examination of some sort, an assessment of how these individuals learn. Are they learning visual? Are they learning, there's all sorts of different learning styles.
Right.
And like for me, I was more hands on. Like I remember going through anatomy, having to take anatomy twice to get an A. Um, and of course, there's two anatomies, so that's even worse. I remember for Christmas one year, my mom getting me like this, like life size human body, and it was like gooey organs, and so you could pull those organs out, hold them, look at them, be like, this is what the colon does, this is what the heart does, and then put them back, and then you know where they're at. So I feel like everyone's styles are different, and the brain grows at different times. Like with children, I have so many kids that the ages, they're not hitting the right milestones, and I feel like those milestones are kind of I feel like they wrap that one child in this one time period, and if you don't meet that one thing, then your child, is not as good as the next child. And I feel like that really, because going through the pediatric part of nursing school, that was different to see, kids hitting the milestones and kids not. And I feel like if they did more of an assessment early on in the educational years, to let them see where their learning styles are, I think that would help a lot.
That would help. Well said, Kinsey. And in fairness, really, many of these schools are beginning to pay attention to the fact that kids learn differently. For
Mhm.
instance, we see schools, that put kids, they know that, they put them in special ed class just because they know they need that extra accommodation. But, and then it looks like it goes through grade 1, maybe through to 5 or 6 or something. And but I do not think that extends through to the colleges, right? The university where it really
Correct.
matters, right? We do not have that, the class where, okay, let's the class that can cater for the needs of those that are neurodivergent. And I hope colleges can start making accommodations, not just examination accommodations, because it really wouldn't matter. I mean, it would matter that thankfully you're giving them more time to complete a task and complete tests and stuff. But it would also matter that they help them, pass the exam in the first place. They help them learn. Because for someone who's a visual learner and you keep giving the person textbook, it's almost not going to, even if you give the person 20 hours to write an exam, it may not make much of a difference. So I hope schools, colleges can begin to make accommodation. Nursing school
So
especially,
hard.
who can make accommodations. Yeah, job interviews as well. Someone says here that job interviews as well, jobs, we can begin making accommodation. You're going to talk to us about what it feels like to work on the floor, your journey. But before that, we're going to throw open the phone lines. If you want to call us, you just want to call to say hi to Kinsey, you just want to call to contribute, ask questions, the number to call is 817 935 8734. That's 817 935 8734. 817 935 8734. And I'm going to be putting it on the screen here so that you all can see. Yeah. Okay, let's take this one out. Okay, 817 935 8734. Or leave us a comment down below so that we can read it. How ADHD is. Okay, I have a caller. Hi, welcome to the Neurodivergent Show. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
My name is David, and hi, Kinsey.
Hi, David. Hello, thank you. Thanks for supporting me.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a question. How is your childhood like growing up in terms of family?
Like your family, were they supportive? Is that your question, sir?
That is correct. Like at the initial stage, what was it like? Were they supportive, or were they like, okay, we don't know what's wrong with you?
So, yes. So that's a great question, David. Thank you. So I feel like my parents, if they were given the correct education about ADHD and learning disabilities, and the communication, I feel like they would have grasped it more. But they of course knew something was off, but I don't feel like they took that extra step to make me, because I didn't have a diagnosis. They just thought that my brain was different. So they, of course, made me feel loved and supportive. And I think that they struggled with probably discussing with me, hey, you're a little bit different than this next kid, but they would just take longer. I feel like they would take longer times teaching me stuff and having to contact the teacher and be like, hey, can you work with her more on this subject?
Mm.
So I just feel like they didn't know what it was.
That's a very, very good question. Thank you so much for asking that question. Do you have any other question for Kinsey?
So in terms of, do you have other siblings?
I don't.
Oh.
Sadly, I am an only child, and it's not fun, and it's very lonely.
Right.
But yeah, I am an only child.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so, so much. Any other question, though?
No, that's it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
David. The number to call is 817-935-8734. 817-935-8734. And please do leave a comment below, okay? Just let us know, contribute, leave a comment, just say ask questions if you want, and just Kinsey is here to answer. I like the question David asked, right? Because he mentioned something about support, about family, and I feel like parents are the best advocates for their kids.
Correct.
So if you're out there and you have a kid who's extra restless, showing signs of ADHD, the things we've talked about, not being able to finish a task, not being able to finish the assignment in time, not being able to focus, like you always have to say focus. I know we have to say that to a lot of kids, but you will know that this one needs, this one really is not focusing. This kid is, just restless all over the place. If you have a kid like that, what Kinsey is letting you know is that you're the best advocate for your kid. And please do not be like parents or some parents that may have just ignored it, because you cannot ignore ADHD away. You can say it's not a phase that they will grow out of. If you do not give them the help they need right now, it's going to get, it may not get worse, but it's just going to be better for them. Let's put it that way. So if you have a kid who has ADHD, the best course of action is possibly getting the kid tested, if you're able to do that, and start getting the kid the resource the kid needs. Because I wish my brother had all the resource, all the help he could get. I wish I knew what ADHD was. I wish my parents knew what ADHD was. I feel like his life would have been better off. I mean, thankfully he's doing great now, but imagine if he had all the help he could have gotten, when he was little. Kinsey.
Yeah. And speaking of that, I also feel like some parents, they are ashamed that their kid is different or the learning styles are different. And to be ashamed is one thing, but to also know that there's an issue there, and that issue needs some partaking and taking the next step. And yes, that's going to be hard to swallow that pill. Hey, my kid's different and they're not learning like my friend's child is, and that's really hard to accept. And then you put I feel like as a parent, if I was a parent, I would put blame on myself. I'd be like, well, what am I doing wrong? Am I, is our diet wrong? Is there something that I'm not doing? Did I not do something when they were little? But at the end of the day, it is not anyone's fault. That is how that brain is formed and made. And without the correct testing and assessment and realizing, hey, this is what you have, and there is all these resources to help. Like I said, I had to retake all these classes, and now I'm $45,000 in debt for college when I did not need that. Like I could have not even had, I don't know, some people only like nursing schools like 25, so I feel like that could have saved a lot in the long run and a lot of struggles and time.
Absolutely. I agree. Thank you so much. All right, let's talk about work real quick. I'm sorry, please forgive me. Let's talk about work real quick. So, we're done with college and stuff now
Mhm.
on the floor. I mean, you've been on the floor technically, been a tech,
Mhm.
but working as an RN, what
Mhm.
with ADHD, what's it been like for you?
So working has been a huge challenge, and to just so if people that are not nurses on the live now know, you have to get a license and you have to take this huge test, and this huge test is a make or break, and us nurses know how. It's like a law school test. It's called the NCLEX, and I actually did get accommodations for that, and a lot of people don't know that they can. A lot of nurses don't know, but I had my own little room, um, and I had more breaks. I could get up and rest my brain. I could get up and pay attention to something else for a little bit. So that was nice to be able to attain my license and have an accommodation, but that's per the college and the state. It went through actually the state of Texas. And so that was really awesome to see that support there. And without that, I don't think I would have passed. And I did pass with flying colors, actually, and that was really great. But I also had to study way more than your other nurse did. But yeah, work is, as a nurse, we have a lot of tasks, and whenever you have these 5 patients, and these 5 patients they can have up to 30 meds in the morning. So you look on your
Even more. A patient they have 30 meds.
yes, 30.
I know.
It's so crazy. It's so bonkers, but it's true. And that so 30 times 5, that's a lot. And that's a lot of pulling meds out of this Omnicell, which is basically a huge robot that spits out meds, and you have to grab the correct meds. And if you don't grab the correct meds, that's really bad, of course. But and then you have your charting system, and you have, it's called a brain, and it's like a planner throughout the day of what you need to do, what meds for each patient you need to pass. And whenever you see that brain light up with all of these marks of the meds that you have to take, it is so overwhelming. And that is the part of nursing that was really hard for me, is paying attention to the tasks. And I did have a hard time with residency about because nursing school is different. It's more book related, textbook related, and the questions, they're teaching you how to pass a test, and how to get the questions correct. And it's different on the floor in the hospital. And whenever you're on the floor, that's when you learn everything.
Right.
And on the floor, the residency was rough, but I was able to get through it. I did have to have a second preceptor, and that is because I feel like my learning style was different than most. And I'm glad that they were patient, and my employer understood that. And so that was really nice. And it wasn't anything to do with the other preceptor, all had to do with how I retain information in my teaching styles.
Oh, sorry, we missed that call. Can you kindly call us again? Sorry, I was trying to let Kinsey finish our thoughts so that I didn't want to distract us. So it's 817-935-8734. 817-935-8734. We missed the call. Please to call us back. Okay, I think we have that.
That's my ADHD talking. I just blab.
Yes.
I don't stop.
No. Hi, this is the Neurodivergent Show. What's your name? Where are you calling us from?
Hi, my name is Cynthia.
Hi.
Yes,
Okay. Do you have a
I'm
question
calling.
for our guest?
What do you say?
Do you have a question for Kinsey?
Yes, I do. Congratulations on your promotion, Kinsey. And my question to you is, in regards to your position now that you're like the boss now. So what are you going to be doing to change some of the things so that way for neurodivergent people now they can also have a chance because there are a lot of smart people out there that are trying to get that job or they are working, but because of their neurodivergent state, they're unable to get to where they're supposed to get to. So how are you going to be using your position to help neurodivergent people out?
Thank you.
Yes,
Did you get the
thank
question?
you. Yes,
Okay.
that is an amazing question. So I do get to interview our future employers that come nurses, techs, and secretaries. And I like to put myself into their life, and when they speak about, their history and their work, and I like to just really connect with them. And then when they do, it's all about patience. I feel like another thing when I was learning and going through the job, I can tell when someone is getting impatient, and that makes me feel bad because I am a people pleaser. I don't want to upset them. And being neurodivergent is sometimes a challenge, and that takes time. And so I feel like just communicating and telling them, hey, you are, I hear you, I'm listening to you, I understand you, I have been in your shoes before, and then I would, of course, give them tips and tricks, and because there are tips and tricks to nursing, to get through the day and make the day more pleasing to you and get through those tasks. But just communicating with them and opening up, I feel like connecting with them on a personal level and just sharing them with my struggles and being honest. I feel like another thing in the nursing field is people aren't honest about the mistakes. I like when I'm teaching and when I have a new nurse or a new tech or someone shadowing me, I will be honest with them about the nursing mistakes that I've made because I don't want them to feel alone, when they make a mistake or an error or anything. I just feel like being honest with them and being like, and just sharing it. I don't want them to have to ask, hey, what mistakes have you done? I just want to be open with them.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Cynthia, for that very beautiful question. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to let Cynthia go now, but Kinsey, you're going to come back and you're going to talk to us.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something I want us to get to that's like working, ADHD and everything, but our time has fast spent. But you've been such a blessing to many people out there. I'm sure parents that are listening right now or would be listening in future to this. I've learned so much from you. I'm sure people that have ADHD, I've learned so much from you. And if you do not have ADHD, I'm sure you have learned about what it feels like to have ADHD and be more graceful, with others as you go about, your daily life, understanding that people are quite different from you and, just not expecting them to be like you. And if they do something weird, sometimes you have to understand that these people are likely neurodivergent. Do you have a last word for us, Kinsey?
Yeah, so I would just like to thank you guys for letting me share my personal story. In the past, it has been kind of embarrassing to share how long it took me to go through college and get to where I am now. But I realized that because of the passion and the drive, um, I like the quote, talent does not mean anything if you don't do hard work. So I feel like I was able to get to my point of my leadership so quickly because my passion and my extraness and my drive and the ADHD that I had, because that to me is a gift. It's not a challenge. You can do a lot of things with an ADHD mind, and I'm so blessed to be able to get to where I am now, and it has been an honor to share with y'all and finally get it off my
Yeah,
chest because it's a lot to keep in.
so much for sharing a part of yourself with us. It's not easy. I know many people do not even, like you said, they're ashamed to. We have the stigma and everything going on, but the more we talk about it, the better things we get. Thank you, Kinsey. We want to appreciate everyone that's called in. Thank you for your comments. Thank you. And it doesn't end here. Keep the conversation going even after we're done. You can ask Kinsey a question in the comment section. She'll answer it,
Mhm.
at some point. She'll All right. Thank you, guys. This is the Neurodivergent Show. We're here live Friday, 7 p.m. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do so right now. Don't say, I'm going to do it later. No, go ahead and do so right now. Subscribe, share the video, just support us in whatever way you can. My name is Imo Folami. And until next week, Friday, 7 p.m., remember, when next I come your way, take care and have yourselves a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.